Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Underdog Reacts and I watched the wrong Superman. Um yeah, this Superman was actually for next weekend. Um so yeah. The first Superman that we should have watched was the 1951 Superman, and tomorrow then Batman from 1966. But because I looked at the wrong Superman, we watched this one first, the one with Christopher Reeve, the one that we all know, the first Superman movie that we definitely all know. It's not the first Superman movie, but it's one of the first. Second. And also I didn't watch the normal version from 2 hours and 23 minutes, I think. No, I watched the extended version of 3 hours and 8 minutes. Yes. So they had definitely a half hour more of footage, or 40 minutes, something like that, Yeah. So yeah, due to that, it's now a quarter to 12. So we're not gonna watch the second movie because it's a bit late. I don't watch movies, I don't want to start a movie show after 12. So otherwise it's half past 1. Before we end the movie, or maybe even 2 o'clock. It's too late in the day already. So no. So tomorrow we're gonna watch Superman 2, the sequel to this one. And then next week we're gonna watch the original Superman movie and the Batman from 1966. So we switched the weekends for now, which is actually pretty shitty because otherwise there was Superman 1, Superman 2, and then the week after it was Swamp Thing and Superman 3. I have to be honest, I did enjoy this movie, only I still don't know about Superman himself. I don't know why people like him so much. To me, he's just a man that can fly, basically. Just like the name says, Superman. He's just a superhuman. That, yeah. For some reason, it doesn't really interest me. The character, but the movie was, yeah, I enjoyed it, even though it was longer than I thought. Otherwise, we would have watched Bambi Reckoning, but that one is coming tomorrow, and then Cinderella's Curse, which we should have watched tomorrow, is gonna come next Saturday. So yeah, it's a bit switching around, but we're here. Yeah, they're apparently at work. Here, there's a street next to this window, but then down there because I live up on the 4th floor. So yeah, I think they're working on the street, but why right now? Let's just start with Superman because we have some things to talk about. We see some curtains, they're open, right? And then we see a screen, and on the screen is it says June 1938, and we see then a comic from Action Comics, or Action Comic. We see a hand come from the right down corner, just like in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, that monster, that creeps up, which is from 1975. So maybe this was, they have that from that movie, it creeps up, and it grabs that hand. But this one, it's just, I think it's a boy hand, from a younger kid, and it flips the page open, flips the comics open, and we hear a little boy narrate. This is 938 Superman, or whatever it says. Metropolis, blah blah blah. See, I don't know if you can hear that, but wait a minute. Okay, hopefully it's a bit more damped, but I can't do anything about the sound because it's just outside there. It's a bit softer. Anyway, so board narrates, and the camera zooms in on the Daily Planet. Well, the boy said something about Daily Planet, and then we start zooming in on with the camera, and while it was zooming in, it transitioned from comic to real life Daily Planet. So we're zooming in and we're zooming in. Well, I thought at first at that big planet, but that says Daily Planet going around it. No, it goes up there, and I thought, oh, we're going to the moon. No, we're going up there. We're going past the moon towards Krypton. But we're also gonna leave that because if you want to know stuff, watch the movie yourself. Yeah, this movie was a long movie, and I've seen The Godfather. Yeah, I have the movies on DVD too. Watching them one time was more than enough actually for me. But for the channel, I will watch them again. But outside of that, I probably won't watch them again. They're cool, they're good, but they're not really from. Oh yeah, I want to watch them again. I want to watch it again. Not really that. Yeah, Marlon Brando was in this movie, but who did he play? Because I don't think I've recognized him. And I know that Gene Hackman was also in this movie, but was that Lex Luthor? Because the first time I've heard about Gene Hackman was actually from the South Park episode about Christopher Reeve, the episode Crazy Crips, with the episode from Jimmy and Timmy, that they joined the Crips. So yeah, that's the only time I've basically heard about Gene Hackman. So I don't know who he played actually as a character in the Superman franchise. But if I'm going on a limb, I would say it's Lex Luthor. I don't know. It probably has to be because he says in the South Park episode, "You can't stop me, Hackman." And probably Gene Hackman was then the villain, so it probably has to be Lex Luthor then. Which, at first when we saw him in the movie, I thought I thought he was bald. No, he is actually bald, but he wears a wig the whole time. And when the intro music came, I thought wow, this feels very Star Wars-y, and it's probably because of the orchestra, it's probably due to that. And before I started to film this, I watched a small part of Ashley Burton's reaction to this movie, and she said the same thing. And then she said, something about the composer, who does the music, blah blah blah, and he did do the music. So I think he is the same guy that does the music for Star Wars. So that makes sense why I got the Star Wars vibe, why I got the vibe from the music from wow. The first thing that popped in my mind was Star Wars, So good for him, to kind of have his own thing, from you hear that and you think of that, you think of him, it's the same with music. This sounds a bit like this guitar sounds played like that band. It is actually that band, it just some bands have the sound, they have some artists that just have the sound for it sounds like, and it's actually them, the vibe of the music have just something, it's the same with Rammstein, my favorite band. They just the riffs, they sound so easy, but it goes so fucking hard. So yeah, it's probably just a je ne sais quoi, whatever, that those people have, that you just instantly can recognize from. This is them, or this is their work, Um, yeah, like I said, I watched the wrong movie actually. Yeah, should have watched this one next week. Um, though the Phantom Zone looks like a mirror, and I know that Sod is coming back, because why the fuck would you ban it? Why the fuck would you show us that he was banished to the Phantom Zone if you don't bring him back eventually? So Sod is coming back out of the Phantom Zone. I'm curious how he will escape that, because, I think it's invented to not be escapable, like a prison. So we'll see by watching the movies itself, as far as we can, because um, one of the things where I watch my movies was taken down. So yeah, the channel is crumbling away. Let's say that the channel is crumbling away, and I don't know how long we can still do this. I hope that we can keep up for years to come. But if we can't, it's just so sad, too bad. But we have to end the channel, or think of something new to do on this channel. Yes, I can game, but I'm not really a gamer. And then I would play games for 1.5 hours to 2 hours then, or maybe, yeah, probably something like that. Um, that maybe in on my free days, maybe 4 hours or something like that, Um, but who knows? I'm not a gamer, like I said, and I'm not really interested in playing games, I'm more interested in watching anime and watching movies, But yeah, I don't know how other reaction channels do it. Do they have multiple subscriptions at multiple thingies, I don't know. And if they do, they don't watch the movies, the franchises back to back to back. I do, If we start with Hell House, I want to watch Hell House back to back to back. If we start with the Chucky Chucky franchise, I want to watch Child's Play 1 till the show, back to back to back. I don't want to have a month in between, 2 months in between, a year in between, because I legit will forget what the movie is about. I forgot what happened in the first movie, because I will not remember that. Some movies I remember, but most of them I don't. So um, back to the movie. Um, yeah, the Phantom Zone looks like a kind of a mirror, or like a window through the window, through the walls. Um, yeah, it's interesting, It's kind of interesting. The Kryptonians, they basically died because they wouldn't listen. That's it. What was his name? Jor-El, so, Superman's father. He said from the planet's gonna be destroyed in 30 days or less. And the other scientists, well, no, I think it's just shifting its orbit. Yeah, that eventually leads to its demise, which it did. So now they're all dead because they legit just didn't listen. That was the whole reason why they died. Don't want to listen now, then you feel the punishment. Apparently, what is the saying? If you don't want to hear, you have to feel. Stuff like that. Um, and why are their clothes so shiny? They're so shiny white. It's legit glowing. Why? I don't get it. Well, that's me. I wear mostly black, so it's the total opposite. Um, I also think that when Superman was on Earth, yeah, that also. Why did they show the boy's penis? Why was the kid? I think the kid was legit naked. I don't think they had a special kind of underwear, that they have nowadays. Nowadays they put a kind of special underwear that's more skin toned, But I don't think the kid had one. So why the fuck was he naked? Why the fuck was there a naked boy in the movie? Buck naked. Why? I get it, He just came to Earth. He just crashed on Earth, The parent, the earthly parents just found him, so he doesn't have any clothing. But why show the penis on screen? It was not a zoom in or a close up or something. No, 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 no. But the boy was just fully on screen, and the penis was visible. So why show a child's genitals on screen? I don't get it. Even if this is 1978, it's kind of weird. Was it by section? What? Nee, that was it by niet Zack Snyder, but Dan Schneider. Was Dan Schneider it? The one from iCarly. That guy, Rob Schneider. Nee, not Rob Schneider. Dan Schneider. Yeah, you know the guy. Was it him? Was it him? Oh no, wait. He was for feet, not for dick. I think Very Odd Parents also made a reference to when Superman made the Fortress of Solitude. He had a kind of a green crystal that his parents put him in his pot. His space parents, his original parents, put it in a pot, and he threw it, and it landed somewhere, and it sank, and then the Fortress of Solitude came out of the ground. And I think Very Odd Parents had also a reference to that one, with more like a was the diamond shape. If I think of a diamond, I think of a diamond shape, not a diamond shape. So a diamond shape from cards, of a deck of cards. That kind of a diamond shape. I think they threw something like that. They threw it and it fell then into the sewer or something like that, and then it came out. I think it was Very Odd Parents. It was a kind of a cartoon. I know that for sure it was a cartoon, but I can't remember which it was. If you know, put down below in the comment section. Christopher Reeve was, when we first saw him as Clark Kent, in suit, at the Daily Planet, I thought, wow, he's perfectly cast for Superman. He just looks perfect. Just sharp, nice jawline, just big, bit bulky, not too bulky, but just good build, good jawline, just perfect Superman, just perfect. Yeah, and then we saw him without his suit, just in his Superman clothes, and then I thought, well, where did the jawline go? Yes, we still saw it a bit, but it was it was less visible, and it maybe just stood out because of his gray suit. And speaking of his clothing, two things. First, why does he wear his underwear over his clothes? I still don't get it, Hey, you do you, and I know that Batman also did it, but why? There's probably a specific reason why comic makers did that, but if you know, put down below in the comment section. And the second one is, Clark kind of jumped out of a window from the Daily Planet, and he was falling straight down, face down first, in flying mode, and he was still in Clark Kent. But then suddenly his Clark Kent clothes, his suit disappeared, and he was in Superman clothing that he had underneath it. But where the fuck went his normal clothes? It just disappeared. And no, actually, otherwise still, where does he keep his clothing? You know, for the first time that we saw him change into Superman, he went into those turning doors, those turning door styles. He went in and he came out as Superman. But where were his normal clothing? It's not like he tucked it away somewhere or tucked it away in his pants or something like that. Where did it go? Maybe I just looking for an answer that there's not there, but where did it go? I'm kind of curious. Where did it go? And the last thing that I've have written down is apparently Lois died, and I didn't even know. Yeah, I knew for okay they're gonna be together, but I didn't expect for Lois dying. But then he flew into the sky for and he turned back the time by flying the opposite direction of that Earth is turning, and then turned back time like Cher sings. If I could turn back time, well, Superman did it, and she was back alive. And he saved yay. I can see why people like this movie. I can see it. It's an enjoyable movie. Yes, definitely. I definitely enjoyed this movie. It's a decent movie. So I'll give this movie a 3.75, maybe even a 4 out of 5. Yes, if you don't know, because I never specified, but everything that we rate is out of 5, not out of 10. If you want to know my score out of 10, you just have to double the score. That's it. Easy as that. But the 3.75, so decent. That would be then a 7.5. Yeah, still a good movie. Enjoyable movie, and like I said, I can see why people like it. The casting of Clark Kent, good. The casting of Christopher Reeve as Superman, good. The music by John, what's his name? Oh, I don't even know if his first name is John. But the music, good, and really reminds me of Star Wars. And it's the first thing that I thought for, okay, maybe it reminds me of Star Wars because they both use orchestra as music. Well, that's probably part of it, but it's also probably because the same guy makes the music of both franchises. Then, well, definitely of the Star Wars franchise, and maybe also for the rest of the Superman franchise. So I don't know. We'll see it when we get there. 3.75 for this movie, but go watch the movie yourself. Leave likes, recommend a good Christopher Reeve movie down below in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel. Check out my second channel, Underdog Eats, where I do food streams every week from time to time. Also Snarkle, or my third channel, Underdog Reacts, where I do primarily music. Link down below in the description. And if I stop ever with this channel, those two channels probably will still be up. So you can't get rid of me that easy from YouTube. I will still be here. But probably not on this channel then. Which is too bad, but yeah. I can't do anything about it. Yes, I can go to a second-hand store and buy the movies there every fucking time. But then every month, I come there, I buy movies, and I bring them the next month. I bring them back. I don't think they're happy with that. I don't think I can do that. Because first of all, I will lose money. I definitely will lose money. Think about it. We watch, let's say, 30 days, so there's 30 movies, plus 3 for every week, so we watch around 45, a minimum of 40 movies a month. It's a lot. No, around 40 movies, maybe 39, maybe 40, stuff like that. So we watch a lot of movies a week. A month, so but yeah, hopefully we'll get through this year. I have to use my new laptop for the movies because my old laptop is shutting down. I don't think my old laptop will make 2030. I think it will die this year, um, which is pretty shitty because this laptop, I will show you. This has nothing to do with the movie, but this laptop here comes the sound from. My old laptop has the sound coming from here. Here. This one here, the old one here, which means that with this one the sound is further back and less to the front, so it sounds worse. The sound sounds just worse, so I have to use my there it is, my JBL Go box just to give a clear sound, which is very shit because I sit around a meter away from my laptop, so yeah. And I can't use that thing the whole fucking time. I can't use that one for 8 hours long because that thing doesn't even do it for 8 hours. It's a bit older, so it doesn't probably have the capability of going for 8 hours. And otherwise, I have to use it and charge it at the same time, and then the battery definitely goes down. So yeah. But yeah, just me shit. Yeah, that's it. I'm also gonna leave that. Watch the movie yourself. Yada 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 yada. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Superman 2. Otherwise, I'll see you guys for tomorrow also for Bambi: The Reckoning, which is the horror version of Bambi. Next month we're gonna start with the James Bond franchise. So if you're interested in that one, stick around. We're gonna watch it only on the Wednesdays, James Bond. In the weekends we're gonna do the DC movies. Man, that's basically it. So stick around for more movies. Otherwise, check out my second channel where we do food, drinks, or my third channel where we do primarily music. We have from everything something. Oh, and I want to start again with shows next week. So if you're interested in that, also stick around. We're gonna start hopefully again with Adventure Time, Fiona and Cake, Season 2. We've done Season 1 already. Fun season. I can't wait for Season 2. And then we're gonna watch after that a new show. Maybe the Twilight Zone. We're going back with that. We watched the first Twilight Zone and we watched the second version of Twilight Zone. Then we're going to the 2002 version of Twilight Zone. So if you're interested in that, stick around and see you guys next time.